Good morning and welcome to Studio 5 going live, day 11 of the Studio 5 online exhibition, and today we're going to be looking at The Last Hero. Anyway, more about this. If you're interested in any of the work or indeed would like any more information, please don't hesitate to contact me through the usual channels. First of all, a little bit of the technical detail about the binding. It's a full hand-coloured, hand-dyed parchment. The measurements are 28 by 6 by 28.6 centimeters times 24 centimeters by 2 centimeters, and that of course as usual is when closed. The Last Hero, it's a novel by the remarkable author Terry Pratchett, who unfortunately is no longer with us. It's the 27th book in the Discworld series, and the format is slightly larger, considerably larger than the normal run of the Discworld series books. This is illustrated on every page by Paul Kidby, and it was published in 2001. I love this book. I've actually got 2 or 3 copies which I read through, but I really wanted to do a binding with it. The novel itself is, those of you not perhaps familiar with the writing of Terry Pratchett, it's full of fantasy cliches. It involves gods, Prometheus, space flight, heroes, heroines, anti-heroes, anti-heroines, the apocalypse, space travel. I think I've already mentioned false teeth and soup. Not necessarily, of course, in that order. The binding itself, as I said, is a full parchment binding. And the thing about parchment, parchment is made from animal skin. And the first sort of records of prepared animal skins sort of being used for writing on can be dated back to about 2550 to 2450 BC. So it is quite an old material to use. The material that I've used for this particular binding is an old indenture, sort of like a legal document from about 1890. I bought it in a job lot from at an auction sale, and water damaged indentures, and of course I checked after buying, I checked that there was nothing important on them. And with this particular skin, I cleaned it, washed it, pinned it out, let it dry, and then re-dyed it. I wanted it to look like an old sort of Saga writing, and we can just make out in areas some of the old writing creeping through, and if I get a little bit more tighter in there you can perhaps see it. And in fact, you can see the various capitals and this sort of thing happening here. The dye is a spirit dye, but I've also put in the colour as well, and these colours reflect what's happening in the text block in the remarkable illustrations by Kidby. The parchment is made in a very similar way, in fact almost exactly the same as vellum, in that you can make parchment from nearly any sort of animal skin, from fish right through to human skin. And there are many examples of human skin being used for book binding, as various other things. The material is extraordinarily hard wearing, but when you're using it, you've really got to know what you're doing, because during the making process, the skin is stretched out, and if you get it, and then it's allowed to dry, and if you get it wet, too wet, it will want to revert back to its original shape, which, trust me, ain't a book shape. But it is a beautiful, beautiful material to work with. It really, it just lends itself to, I think, a lot of different formats. The binding is a groove binding. The sections are section sewn, rounded and backed, made end papers with full edge decoration. The reason for the label on the spine, which ties in with the text quite nicely, is because the book is housed in a slip case. We'll just have a quick look at a little bit more of the book. So if I just spin it round, very simple, and that's actually reflecting, sorry, a bit of a blip there. The end papers are black, and that is reflecting what is happening within the story itself, if you like. Full edge decoration, and again, I've been picking out colours that are in the text block, and if we open the text block up to see some of these lovely illustrations of you know, colours, forms and everything else. It really is quite delicious. And there we have something of the gods. So you can see where the earthy colours that I've used for the binding have come from. Working with illustrated novels like this, it does lend itself to a lot of interpretation. And it's not something I do often, but books is and can be great fun. And there you have it. Sorry, another blip. And there you have it, The Last Hero. Thank you all very, very much indeed. I thoroughly enjoyed being able to show you this book. For me, it's always a delight to look at it and see it. And there is so much more to the actual skin itself once you get it in your hands and start looking at it. The end bands, before I forget, the end bands are applied. It's on a 3/4 hollow, obviously with head caps and the rest. Anyway, thank you all very, very much indeed. I hope you have a lovely day, and let's be safe out there. Once again, this is Studio 5 going live. Goodbye, everybody.